Get out of the car right now! Let me see your hands! Walk to me! Where is he? Where is he? Walk back to me! Walk back to me now! I got the female coming back to me right now. There's probably one outstanding in the car. Come back to me. Let me see your hands. Come back. Where is he?
He went that way.
What is he? Is he in the car?
No, he went that way.
Come here. Get down. Get down. Let me check you. Get in the car.
Okay. Oh, God, help me.
Get in the car. Get in the car. Let me see. I need to check you. I need to check you for weapons.
Okay.
Where's he at? Who is it?
His name is Mark. He's my boyfriend.
Does he have any weapons?
Yes, he does.
What does he have?
He has a gun.
Where is he at? He ran?
Yes, he did.
The sun rose over the vast New Mexico desert, casting long shadows over the quiet highways outside Santa Fe. It was a seemingly normal morning until the silence was shattered by the blaring of sirens and the roar of engines. A white Chevy Malibu was speeding recklessly down the interstate, pursued by multiple police cruisers. Officers, desperate to stop the vehicle, were unaware that within minutes, 2 lives would be lost, another permanently changed, and an entire town left in shock. The driver, a woman in distress, was allegedly being held hostage by a dangerous man. She had begged a witness to call 911, claiming her kidnapper was armed and threatening to kill her.
Lady out in my parking lot here at the Vizcaya Apartments, she asked me to call the police. Somebody's in her car, won't get out. She says he has a knife held on her. She's now leaving. She's in a white Malibu.
Police responded immediately, believing they were in a race against time to save her life. But what followed was something far more sinister than anyone could have expected. As the chase escalated into chaos, a fatal collision left a veteran police officer and a retired firefighter dead on impact. The wreckage stretched across the highway, the result of one of the most reckless pursuits in Santa Fe's history. Yet when the dust settled, something wasn't right. The story the woman told about her violent abduction, the armed man, the threats on her life began to fall apart.
Male and a female crashed into the fence, car was smoking, and they took off. I got behind her, I didn't see no one else in the vehicle at all.
The supposed kidnapper she accused didn't even know who she was. Police, initially determined to track down a dangerous fugitive, instead found themselves questioning if the real criminal had been in their custody the whole time. This is the true story of deception, destruction, and a desperate escape gone terribly wrong.
Police spotted the car minutes later. The suspect led police on a chase down I-25 going the wrong way. That chase led to a deadly crash involving at least 4 cars. A Santa Fe police officer died in the crash, along with the driver who was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
A case that began with a rescue mission, but ended with a web of lies unraveled. And at the center of it all?
He was armed with a knife and was taking a vehicle occupied by a woman. We're still working on his involvement and the totality of the investigation. We do plan to release his information once we get everything locked down and his identity.
A woman who had played the victim before, but this time, the consequences were deadly. Janine Yaro was no stranger to law enforcement. Her criminal record stretched back to 2005 when she was first arrested for shoplifting. What began as small-scale thefts soon escalated into a pattern of more serious offenses, each one revealing a reckless disregard for the law. Over the years, her rap sheet grew to include auto theft, resisting arrest, assaulting an officer, and handling stolen property. Despite multiple encounters with the justice system, Janine managed to evade long-term consequences, often receiving probation, reduced sentences, or having cases dismissed due to lack of witnesses. By 2013, Janine had shifted from petty crimes to high-risk offenses. She was arrested for stealing vehicles, a crime that carried harsher penalties than shoplifting. In 2014, she was caught breaking into cars but avoided serious punishment when the case was dismissed. The pattern repeated itself multiple times. She would commit a crime, get caught, tell an elaborate story, and somehow avoid major jail time. Law enforcement officials saw her as a career criminal, someone who had learned how to manipulate the system to her advantage. But what made Janine Yaro especially dangerous wasn't just her willingness to steal and run from the police. It was her habit of lying to cover up her crimes. In 2 separate incidents in 2021, she had fled from law enforcement in stolen vehicles, crashed, and then claimed she had been kidnapped. She told police on both occasions that she had been forced to drive against her will, hoping to shift the blame onto a non-existent assailant. Investigators later discovered that her so-called kidnapper didn't exist, and the crimes had been entirely her doing. Her repeated ability to escape punishment only seemed to embolden her. She had no fear of consequences, believing that she could talk her way out of anything. In her mind, the more dramatic the lie, the more believable it would be. But in March of 2022, her biggest lie yet would result in a devastating tragedy, one that no fabricated story could ever erase. On the morning of the chase, Janine Yaro was seen in a Santa Fe apartment complex where a resident, Richard Muser, witnessed her pleading for help. She told him that a man, her boyfriend, Mark Lopez, was holding her hostage in a white Chevy Malibu. According to Yaro, Lopez was armed with a knife and a gun, threatening to kill her. Muser, alarmed by the scene, immediately called 911.
Lady out in my parking lot here at the Vizcaya Apartments. She asked me to call the police. Somebody's in her car, won't get out. She says he has a knife held on her. She's now leaving. She's in a white Malibu.
Within minutes, Officer Romo located the white Malibu, but when he tried to stop it, the driver refused to comply. Instead of pulling over, the car sped off, leading officers on a dangerous high-speed pursuit through Santa Fe. The situation escalated dramatically when the Malibu crossed into oncoming traffic on Interstate 25, endangering dozens of lives. Vehicles swerved, trying to avoid a collision, but Officer Robert Duran and retired firefighter Frank Lovato were not so lucky. At nearly 90 miles per hour, Duran's police cruiser collided head-on with Lovato's truck, killing both men instantly.
We believe Jaramillo led officers on a chase, driving the suspect car and causing the fatal crash that killed Officer Duran and Mr. Lovato.
The impact was so severe that Duran's vehicle was nearly disintegrated.
On I-25, coming from El Dorado, there was a head-on. There's 4 cars involved. Well, I know they're dead.
As chaos unfolded, Officer Montano crashed into another civilian car, permanently injuring a woman named Alexis Jenkins.
Are you okay? I mean, I know you were involved in the crash, but is there any sort of like entrapment or anything like that?
Yeah, 286 is entrapped in his vehicle right now.
286 is entrapped?
Yes.
Okay, are you out of your vehicle?
I just got out of my vehicle now.
Meanwhile, the white Malibu continued its escape attempt, colliding with yet another truck before finally coming to a halt. Officers immediately surrounded the wreckage, expecting to find an armed and dangerous fugitive inside. But instead, a terrified woman emerged, screaming for help. Janine Yaro collapsed into the arms of police officers, claiming she had barely survived a kidnapping attempt.
Get out of the car right now! Let me see your hands! Walk to me! Where is he? Where is he? Walk back to me! Walk back to me now! I got the female coming back to me right now. There's probably one outstanding in the car. Come back to me. Let me see your hands. Come back. Where is he?
He went that way.
What is he? Is he in the car?
No, he went that way.
Come here. Get down. Get down. Let me check you. Get in the car.
Okay. Oh, God, help me.
Get in the car. Get in the car. Let me see. I need to check you. I need to check you for weapons.
Okay.
Where's he at? Who is it?
His name is Mark. He's my boyfriend.
Does he have any weapons?
Yes, he does.
What does he have?
He has a gun.
Where is he at?
He
ran?
Yes, he did.
Okay, stand by. So I have the victim right now in the back of my car. She's saying it's her boyfriend. Unknown on the name yet. He's got 1080 with a gun, went into these bushes right here.
Okay, let's get some clarification on exactly where we're at, and we need to establish a perimeter on that, please.
Okay, what is his name?
His name is Mark.
Mark what?
Lopez.
Where, he ran off or what?
Yes, he did.
Are you sure he's not in the vehicle?
I'm sure, sir.
You're positive?
I'm positive, sir. He hit me, and
Okay. We need to clear this vehicle as well. I don't know if there's anybody else in here.
Further details are probably about 35, maybe 36.
Who's gonna burn me?
Did he stab you at all? Did he hurt you at all?
I don't know.
Okay, what kind of gun does he have?
He had a knife to me too.
He has a gun or no?
A gun and a knife.
Okay. What's his last name?
Lopez.
Lopez? What's his date of birth?
I'm not too sure because I haven't been going out with him very long.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. He went this way or what?
I don't know.
Somebody trying to
He hit me.
Okay, any units that are coming up, what I want you guys to do is start diverting I-25 bound, I-25 northbound traffic off on the highway.
When did he get out of the car? Were you driving?
No.
I know it's take a breath. We're trying to help you get information.
I was not driving. He got
He was driving?
He said that he was gonna kill me and light me on fire. There's gas in the car.
Mark Lopez?
Yes. Tell him be careful. There's gas in there.
Okay, so the victim is saying that the suspect is a Mark Lopez, no date of birth. Apparently there's gas and fire in the car. I didn't see anybody exit besides her, so he may still be in the vehicle. Okay, stay in the car, okay?
Okay.
Keep your head down. He has a gun.
She insisted that her boyfriend, Mark Lopez, had escaped into the desert and was armed and dangerous. Officers launched an immediate manhunt, believing they were searching for a violent criminal who had just caused the deaths of 2 men. But as police began checking records, something wasn't right. When they searched for Mark Lopez, they discovered that he had been at work all day, with multiple alibis and surveillance footage proving his whereabouts. Even more baffling, Lopez had never met Janine Yaro in his life.
I feel very violated. My character, my job, just everybody in my professional, my friends. This is very, very embarrassing.
The woman they had rushed to save was suddenly becoming the prime suspect. Further investigation revealed no evidence of gasoline on Yaro or inside the Malibu, contradicting her claim that her captor had tried to set her on fire.
He woke me up in this so terrible way, pouring some gas on me. I smelled it and then I felt like the cold going my clothes and everything. He told me he was gonna burn me.
Okay.
He said he was gonna set me on fire and I was gonna die. But he was gonna kill me.
The knife and gun she said he had were never found.
I seen him that he had the knife in his hand and everything, but it was closed. But I seen it.
So when you say closed, was it a folding knife? Yeah? And then the blade was closed.
Yeah.
But he was still holding it against your neck and your chest.
Yeah, and he was telling me that I'm not gonna leave and he was gonna kill me.
And then came the most damning evidence. Witnesses who saw the Malibu at the beginning of the chase confirmed that Janine Yaro herself had been the driver the entire time. It was becoming painfully clear that there had never been a kidnapping. Janine Yaro had simply stolen a car, fled police, and fabricated a lie to avoid getting caught. But this time, her deception had cost lives. As the investigation unfolded, the evidence against Janine Yaro became undeniable. Every aspect of her story began to fall apart under scrutiny. The so-called kidnapper, Mark Lopez, was proven to be entirely uninvolved, with a solid alibi backed by security footage, phone records, and multiple witnesses. There was no physical evidence to support her claim that she had been doused in gasoline, nor was there any sign of the weapons she insisted her abductor had used to threaten her.
Okay, so what happened?
Okay, my boyfriend kept me here.
Where's here?
Grant. Grant. And for 2 days, he didn't let me go. I don't know what the hell. He didn't give me no water. He didn't give me nothing. That's why when I came to this man's house here, I asked him for water. I'm so dehydrated, sir. He just kidnapped me and didn't let me do anything.
19210, we're gonna need you to come move.
And I was trying to get away from him. I saw this house, so I came here. And he ran the other way.
Ran what other way?
Like, the car, let me see. He ran to the left-hand side. He ran to the left. And I went up.
So he ran to the left, you went up? Okay. What's he wearing?
He's wearing a red shirt also, with black jeans. They're like they hang off, where they show their...
Where it shows his ass?
Yeah.
What color's his skin?
Dark brown.
He's dark? Like him dark?
Lighter.
Lighter than him? Okay. Where was he sitting in the car?
He was down on the ground more.
On the ground? What seat?
Kind of like down on the middle part, he was on the passenger side.
He was on the passenger side down? What all's in that car?
I was trying to stop, sir. I was trying to stop.
What all's in that car?
I have my guitar in there.
Uh-huh.
We were going just to visit a friend of his, he said. We never got to a friend's house.
So how could he be holding a knife to her neck, keeping you from stopping if he's down on the floorboard of the vehicle?
He had the knife in his hand, sir, but they didn't.
But how is he holding it to your neck?
And then he got up and he put it to my neck and he told me to.
Where at on your neck?
Over here. He told me that he's gonna kill me if I try to stop again because I was trying to stop, sir. I was trying to stop and then he punched me right here and he was choking me. He was choking me. Most of the time he was choking me. It hurts me. I can't even...
He was choking you? While you were driving from us?
No. He was punching my stomach. He punched me a lot of times in my stomach and he told me not to stop because I was pushing the brake. I was trying to stop.
The final and most damning piece of evidence came from eyewitness accounts and police reports that confirmed what detectives had already begun to suspect. Janine Yaro had been the driver of the white Chevy Malibu all along. With her web of lies collapsing, authorities had no choice but to place Janine Yaro under arrest. She was charged with vehicular homicide for the deaths of Officer Robert Duran and retired firefighter Frank Lovato, as well as reckless driving, causing serious injury for the crash that left Alexis Jenkins permanently disabled. Additionally, she faced charges of auto theft, as the Chevy Malibu had been reported stolen, and false reporting, as her entire story about being kidnapped was fabricated from the start. Even as she was taken into custody, Janine refused to admit the truth. She continued to insist that she had been a victim, repeating her story with unwavering conviction, despite the overwhelming proof that she had orchestrated the entire event. Detectives confronted her with the evidence, yet she remained defiant, attempting to twist the narrative to her advantage. However, this time, her usual strategy of deception would not work. Unlike in her past run-ins with the law, there was no technicality to save her, no missing witness to make the case disappear, and no sympathy left to exploit. This time, Janine Yaro's lies had gone too far, resulting in real deaths, real suffering, and irreversible destruction. The justice system was no longer willing to grant her the second chances she had so often manipulated. She was officially booked into jail, awaiting trial for the most serious crimes of her life. Janine Yaro's trial became one of the most closely watched cases in Santa Fe's history, not just because of the tragic loss of life, but because of the shocking nature of her deception.
And after you've been found out, what do you say?
I'm not a murderer. I am not.
I'm
not a murderer.
You have taken the life of two outstanding members of our community, a police officer and a retired emergency responder. And you did so in the most egregious, deplorable way. Their families, friends, and fellow officers' lives have been changed forever.
What had initially been believed to be a desperate escape from a violent kidnapper had instead been an elaborate and reckless lie, one that resulted in two innocent people losing their lives and a third suffering permanent injuries. Prosecutors were determined to ensure that this time, Yaro would face the full weight of justice. As the trial began, the courtroom was filled with emotion. On one side sat the families of Officer Robert Duran and retired firefighter Frank Lovato, still grieving the senseless loss of their loved ones. On the other side sat Janine Yaro, the woman responsible for their deaths, still refusing to take accountability. The prosecution wasted no time painting a clear picture of what had happened. This was not an unfortunate accident, nor was Yaro a helpless victim. Instead, she was a career criminal who had spent years manipulating the system, and this time, her recklessness had claimed lives. The evidence against her was overwhelming. Surveillance footage and witness testimonies confirmed that Janine was the driver of the white Chevy Malibu. Phone records and work logs proved that Mark Lopez, the man she had blamed, wasn't even near the scene. The crash reconstruction experts detailed the severity of the high-speed impact, explaining how Yaro's reckless driving led directly to the deaths of Officer Duran and Frank Lovato. Medical professionals testified about the severe and life-altering injuries suffered by Alexis Jenkins, emphasizing how Yaro's decisions had destroyed multiple lives in mere moments. Despite the mountain of irrefutable evidence, Yaro pleaded not guilty and stuck to her fabricated story, claiming that she had been a victim of kidnapping and had no control over what had happened. But her cold and emotionless demeanor in court only made things worse for her. Prosecutors highlighted her lack of remorse, pointing out that she had never expressed sympathy for the lives lost and had only tried to save herself. The defense attempted to argue that Yaro had suffered trauma and may have been mentally unstable, but the prosecution countered with her long history of criminal activity, particularly her previous fake kidnapping claims. The jury, hearing about her repeated lies to avoid punishment, saw through her act. It took them only a few hours of deliberation to reach a unanimous guilty verdict on all charges.
With respect to count 1, first-degree murder, Frank Lovato, I'm sentencing you to life imprisonment. With respect to count 2, first-degree murder, Robert Duran, I'm sentencing you to life imprisonment.
When the verdict was read aloud, the families of the victims broke down in tears, finally receiving the justice they had been waiting for. The judge, in his sentencing remarks, did not hold back. He called Janine Yaro's actions selfish, manipulative, and completely devoid of regard for human life. He condemned her history of deception and made it clear that she would never again have the opportunity to harm another innocent person. Janine Yaro was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the first time in her long history of avoiding consequences, there was no escape, no loophole, and no more lies to tell. The courtroom, though still filled with grief, finally saw justice served for the lives that had been taken. Janine Yaro had spent nearly 2 decades manipulating the system, escaping serious consequences through a web of deception and fabricated victimhood. But in the end, her own lies had sealed her fate. What started as yet another reckless attempt to flee police ended in devastation, death, and a life sentence. Unlike the times before, where technicalities or sympathetic leniency had allowed her to walk free, this time there were real lives lost, real families shattered, and undeniable proof of her guilt.
I'm sorry. To the family, with all my heart. If I could take back that day, I would. I made bad choices. I was on drugs and I was drinking, but I also have my family that I'm hurting. Putting me away many years is not going to bring them back. God knows. I deserve a second chance, Your Honor, please. For my family and myself, I would never do that. I would never cause harm. I'm sorry.
The justice system had finally caught up with her, and there would be no more second chances. For the families of Officer Robert Duran and retired firefighter Frank Lovato, the trial had brought some closure, but the pain of losing their loved ones would never fully heal. Duran, a dedicated police officer, had given his life in the line of duty, trying to stop what he believed was a kidnapping in progress. Lovato, a firefighter who had spent his career saving lives, was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. The tragedy of their deaths was amplified by the fact that it never needed to happen in the first place. If not for Janine Yaro's selfishness and recklessness, both men would still be alive today.
My brother died trying to save her life. Her sorry but not sorry letter, it was also very hurtful and upsetting to hear the details of her accounts when my brother gave the ultimate sacrifice. 2 beautiful lives were lost, 2 families that will never be the same.
Alexis Jenkins, the civilian who had been severely injured in the pursuit, would never fully recover. The crash had left her with permanent injuries, altering the course of her life forever. She had been a bystander, an innocent driver on the highway, completely unaware that she was about to become collateral damage in one woman's desperate attempt to escape accountability. No matter what sentence Janine Yaro received, it could never undo the irreversible damage she had caused. This case serves as a chilling reminder of how a single lie can spiral out of control, leading to unimaginable consequences. Janine Yaro thought she could lie her way out of trouble like she had so many times before. But this time, the cost was far too great. The legal system had given her chance after chance. But instead of learning from her past mistakes, she pushed her luck until it ran out. Now she will spend the rest of her life behind bars with no possibility of parole, left to sit alone with the weight of the destruction she caused. The days of manipulating the truth, evading justice, and creating false narratives are over. In the end, the one thing she could never escape was the truth itself, and the truth had finally caught up with her.